Hi, my name is Haley. I'm here with Wild Hand, and today we're going to be showing you how to work the knit stitch. This will show up two different ways based on whether you're working flat or in the round. When you're working flat, your fabric will look like this, which is known as garter stitch. If you're working in the round, your fabric will look like this, which is known as stockinette stitch. Today I'll be working flat using these Leica straight needles and this Monostow Uruguay Cardo. Both of these needles and the yarn are linked in the description box below. Let's get started. So to start knitting any project, we have to first cast on stitches to our knitting needles. There are many different ways to do this. Today we're going to be using a simple long tail cast on. I'll give you a quick overview, and if you need a more in-depth tutorial of this cast on, I'll link the video in the description box below. I'm going to place my yarn over my pointer finger and thumb with the tail end pointing towards me. I'm going to dip down with my needle and make a twist for the first stitch, and now we'll start the cast on. Be mindful that this twist counts as one stitch. I'm going to move my thumb up and then come around and into the loop attached to my thumb. I'm going to move my needle to the back and grab the yarn attached to my pointer finger and come back through the loop attached to my thumb. Once I have a new stitch added to my needle, I can let go of the yarn on my thumb and bring my thumb around to pull that snug. And now I have two stitches. I'll show you that again in slow motion real quick. I'm going to continue in this pattern until I've cast on 15 stitches. You can cast on as many or as few as your pattern requires. The more stitches you need to cast on, the longer you will need your tail end to be. Now that I have my 15 stitches, I'm ready to start knitting. I'm going to move the needle with my stitches to my left hand and pick up my empty needle with my right hand. You can hold the yarn in either your left or right hand when knitting, and you will achieve the exact same results. How you hold your yarn is all up to personal preference. I prefer the left, so I'll start with demonstrating holding the yarn in the left hand, which is also referred to as continental knitting. And I'll also show you how to hold the yarn in your right hand, which is referred to as English knitting. To work the knit stitch, I want my yarn in the back, meaning that my yarn is behind the needle in my left hand. So I've got my yarn to the left, and I have the yarn wrapped around my pointer finger twice. I hold my pointer finger up to control the yarn, and I hold my left hand needle with my remaining fingers, but there's many different ways to set this up. So whatever feels most comfortable to you is fine. I'm going to insert my right needle into this first stitch from left to right, front to back. So I'll show you what that looks like. Again, I'm going to come in the stitch from the left side to the right side, front to back, and now my needle is in the back where my yarn is. Now I can grab some yarn and bring it back through the stitch the way I entered. When I have a new stitch on my right needle, I can drop the old stitch from my left needle. And that's all there is to the knit stitch. So I'll show you again in slow motion. If you want to hold the yarn in your right hand, here's how you'll do it. So now my yarn is on my right side and my yarn is still in the back, just hanging out. I'll insert my right needle the exact same way, left to right, front to back. Then I'm going to use my left hand to hold the needles in place. I'll pick up my yarn and wrap it back to front, bottom to top, or counterclockwise around the right needle. So I'll show you what that looks like from the top. After wrapping the yarn around the right needle, I'll bring it back through the stitch the way I entered. When I have a new stitch on my right needle, I can drop the old stitch from my left needle. So I'll show you that again in slow motion. Now you're knitting. You just repeat this over and over again until you reach the end of the row, at which point you'll turn your work and do the exact same thing on the other side. As you continue row by row, you'll get this nice garter stitch fabric that's super squishy and stretchy. If you want to make something like a scarf from the yarn you see here, you can try casting on 40 stitches onto 6.5mm needles and knit back and forth to your desired length. When you finish your project, you'll cast off, and I'll link the video for how to cast off in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this tutorial helpful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more.